line. We've lost projects. Cash flow's a disaster. EBITDA's in the toilet. Our shareholders, the bank, our investors, everyone's giving us pressure. We're going to stay in this room until we fix this. Right? We can fix this. We are the team. So they stay there for 3 days. And if it was like an 80s film, there'd be a montage of all the laptops going and all the mobile phones going. And they're all sitting there. And after 3 days, the head of marketing, the marketing director says, guys, I've got it. I've got it. I know the answer for the future of the commercial success of the company. And they all go, they're all sitting there sweating with their collars up, 3 days growth on their chins. And they go, please tell us. And he says, we need to do more paid adverts.
Welcome. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to the first digital download of the year, and a happy new year to you all. So, first of all, let's all introduce ourselves, and I'll go round in order. Alex.
Good afternoon, all. My name's Alex Abbott, founder of Sapiro and proud DLA Ignite partner.
Rob.
Good morning, all. Rob Durant, talking to you from just outside Boston, Massachusetts, founder of Flywheel Results and a proud DLA partner.
Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim Hughes. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. And welcome everybody.
Lenwood.
Hello, Happy New Year. I am Lenwood Ross. I am the founder and CEO of Acceleree here in the United States and a partner of DLA Ignite.
Eric.
I don't know. I just turned up and I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to stay. I think I quite like it. My name's Eric from Crux. I work with Crux up here in Aberdeen, Scotland, Digital Commercial Advisors. I'm happy to be here.
Tracy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tracy Borison, coming to you from just outside Calgary, Alberta, Canada, with my kind of sicky voice. And I am the Canadian arm of Crux, a proud partner of DLA Ignite.
And last and least, myself, Adam Gray, Tim's business partner and co-founder of DLA Ignite. So welcome. I don't know about you guys, but for me, and you guys, I don't just mean the people on the live stream. I mean everyone in the audience as well. Christmas for me this year was great. Well, actually, Christmas was awful, but the break itself was great because of how it fell over the weekends and whatever. It felt like a real break. It felt like the whole world was shut down, and it was really nice for me to unplug and get some rest. And I spent some of that time chewing on what I learned last year.
Were you reflecting, Adam? Were you reflecting?
I was reflecting. Yes, I always feel that we shouldn't use that word when Will's not here.
I know exactly. It's a Will Shorten word.
It is. He is the master of reflection. I've chewed on what I learned last year. People I've worked with, clients. And really thought about how the world has changed over the last 12 months. And I'm not really one for resolutions per se, but I think it's a good time of year to set objectives for the following 12 months. And I think we all sort of tend to treat New Year, break, new start as an opportunity to really put our best foot forward. And I think that the resolutions fall into two camps. There's the health bit, there's I'm going to spend more time out in the countryside. I'm going to eat more healthily. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get fit, all of that. So I'm going to learn to play an instrument, whatever it might be. And then there's the business stuff. There's how our businesses operate and how we need to try to make them better, make more money, make ourselves feel more secure. Now, you might argue that you can't be successful if you're not happy and contented and well balanced and you've got a good work-life balance. But there's a great young folk musician called Sam Carter who wrote a song called "Dreams Are Made of Money," and the opening lyrics are, you can tell yourself anything you like, dreams are made of money, from your mortgage down to your kid's first bike, dreams are made of money. And I think that really has been brought to bear over the last year when we've seen people in secure jobs that have been laid off. We've seen all sorts of things go wrong. We've seen organizations and the individuals within them floundering, really trying to work out what it is that they need to do to get traction in the modern world. So I thought it'd be really interesting to ask all of you and everybody in the audience, what are you going to do differently this year to what you did last year? And I think that a lot of our behaviors are embedded in the fact that, well, it's always been that way. We've always done, like your joke that we started with, Eric, the answer's always been advertising, put our message in front of more people. But actually, we've been doing that for 20 years. And it is that 20 years of legacy behavior that's got us into the place where we now are, which is that we haven't got enough pipeline, we haven't got enough revenue, we haven't got enough visibility, we haven't got enough credibility, all of those things that every organization that we talk to says that it's suffering from. And I can say that with some confidence, because even the organizations that I talk to that begin the conversation by saying, yeah, well, we're actually ahead of target. And, we're closing. When you say to them, so what you're saying is you don't want more opportunities and more revenue. They say, oh, yeah, we do need more opportunities and revenue. And actually, we see a lot of organizations putting a brave face on it. But I have yet to see, certainly in the last quarter of last year, when I spoke to probably 60 or 70 new organizations, I have yet to see one of them that genuinely believes that they're doing well. All of them seem to be in trouble at the moment. So what have you all learned, and what are you going to do differently this year?
I think it's incredible because this year, 2022 was a year of sort of crystallization for me. So having operated in this space for some 3+ years in the sort of social digital space, I was very much head down getting into it. Tim's bored already.
I don't blame him.
I'm off. I was very much head down into, we're helping companies with strategic social selling, and that's what we do, and very much on it. And think that we got pretty good at that, very good at it. But I think what happened this year was crystallizing in my mind about this being part of a massive digital commercial revolution that's happening, and it's not just in one sector, it's across sectors. This was when I had the thunk moment. It always happens in the shower. I do my best thinking in the shower. Don't know why. You're making up your own jokes now. That's but I had this whole digital commercial sort of epiphany about digital twins and all of that. This whole, it all just mapped out to me. And so I'm now of the firm belief that we used to meet management teams across sectors, and we'd say, this is what social selling's all about, and they'd go, yeah, we really like it, we really need it, but we'll maybe think about it in a year's time because we don't have budget for it right now. Yeah, but you're really struggling and all. So the approach and the discussion's now very different about your digital commercial wiring. So laying out in front of prospects and clients, industries and sectors. When I first started doing this, I was trying to convince people. And it was what? Social media? What? Really? But we're an engineering company, or we're a project management company. Now it's a much more serious, and it's going to be much more serious. So getting to the crux of the story, is the fact that this is no longer, I'm here to try and convince you. I'm here to show you the pathway to your digital commercial future, because it's much broader and much wider than you think. It's not faffing around on LinkedIn or getting someone in marketing to do a little bit on LinkedIn. This is your digital commercial future. This is your commercial future, and the answer is on digital. I wake up every day. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me, but for some reason, it's like since November, someone pressed fast forward again on the digital transformation.
They did.
It's like we've all been aware of this massive Titanic shifting into focus, which is our analog business worlds fading out of view and our digital commercial world's fading into view, but there's something happened in the last quarter where it's just gone. I saw a post this morning with someone, and I thought, oh God, that's just, I'm playing about with ChatGPT, and I've asked it a question, and this is the answer, and it's pretty good. ChatGPT is not a little thing for playing about with. AI is not a little thing for playing about with. It's a thing to learn. It's a thing to, and it's not somewhere where you go and ask it a question like Google. But if we do this time next year, AI will be a major part of our conversation. Absolutely guaranteed of that. So absorbing, what am I going to be doing more this year? Absorbing how all of this quick-paced digital transformation fits together in this digital commercial piece, and presenting that to the world is something I'm going to be getting more of a handle on, getting more into, finding out how all these jigsaw puzzle pieces fit together. I've already got clients and prospects saying, what about AI? What do we need to be doing with that? I think the foolish answer is it's early stage just now. Have a little play and see how you get on. Take it seriously. Take it seriously. Take it seriously. Just as seriously as any other significant commercial anchor for your organization. If it's going to add benefit, we need to bring it in, and we need to understand it. We need to learn it, and we need to become masters of it. The metaverse. What, like games and stuff? No. Take it seriously. Take all this seriously. I'm not saying burn lots of board hours learning about the metaverse, but if you want to be ahead, you've got to be ahead. If you want the thing, you've got to do the thing.
Oh, that's so 2022.
Oh, 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what's really interesting is that so much of these kind of these point solutions, now we're starting to get more of a handle on how these plug together.
Yeah.
Form a coherent kind of thing. I think that the danger, though, for many organizations is that there's an awful lot of, in quotes, digital stuff going on out there. And some of that digital stuff is stuff that is still, well, by today's reckoning, legacy stuff. Mm-hmm. Cold outreach is old legacy stuff. The fact that you've got new digital tech to help you segment your audience, reach out to your audience, personalize the content to the audience, find new audiences that can ignore you in lots of other places as you push your message out to them. And organizations that are desperate to get on the digital bandwagon, they want to be part of the digital revolution, are picking, in many cases, the wrong things to be focusing on. We see time and again organizations in MarTech that are selling these magnificent cutting edge solutions, and those organizations have no pipeline.
Yeah.
And surely if you're in MarTech, you're generating pipe. That's what you're selling to people. One of the eating your own dog food situations that we find ourselves in is that all we do is social. Every client we win, every conversation we have, every speaking opportunity we get, every podcast is all done through social. And we know that for certain because we don't do anything else. We don't do email marketing. We don't do cold calling. We don't do advertising. We don't go to events. All we do is social. And for many of these organizations, they're spreading themselves too thin. They're focusing large amounts of cash or time, or cash and time and effort, in the things that are not going to deliver results anymore, because we're in the tail end of the cycle of those things. Once upon a time, email worked. Once upon a time, email was a limitless opportunity to send free communications to as many people as you wanted. And now it isn't. Now it's a limitless way of annoying people.
So we talk about the speed of change. I know this is this B2C world, but we can take some cues from there about the pace of change. There was a lovely post the other day, but I don't know this chap. He's a second degree connection of mine, but someone liked it and pushed it into my feed. And actually, when I read it, out of context, it just makes you go, oh, that's interesting, which a lot of people do. You can give anyone or any company the best advice on how to grow, get better, improve. It's only the best advice to take it on. But if they take it on board, yeah, absolutely. But the fact that digital life is growing at such an exponential rate, and you could just giggle at this little post, but think about the connotations about this, right? The post was by a chap by the name of Simon Verona, I think he's from Sheffield. He said, I took my Tesla in for a service. The app said it's time for a service. So I drove to Tesla in Leeds. I drove in. The reception has no people in it. When he drove in, his app said on his phone, "Thanks very much. You can just walk away now. You don't even need to leave your key. If you want a coffee, hold your phone up at the sensor at the door, and then hold your phone at the coffee machine, and we'll give a cup of coffee. But don't even leave your key. Thanks very much. Just walk away. We'll let you know when it's done." There are no people in the service center at Tesla in Leeds. You drive in, and your car says, "Thanks. Walk away now. Just shut the door. Just shut. You don't even need to lock it." You don't even need to lock it. Now, he turned up and he said, "There's no humans here. There's no humans at all. The app's just telling me and the car's just telling me, thanks for dropping me at my service. I'll give you a shout when I'm ready." And if you want a cup of coffee, just nip in there, just hold your phone up. Now, we can giggle at that. It's funny. You know, he's turned up and all of that. But this is going to pull through more in 23, 24 and 25. This sort of thing is going to pull through into B2B. It's going to expand incredibly more in the B2C space. Oh yeah, brilliant. The SEO geniuses.
Well, and I think this is an interesting, like Mark's comment there is an interesting conversation in the Tesla there's no people place, right? Because this is the dehumanization of things, and it's not necessarily bad. There are things where like technology and automation are very helpful. I always say, like, my number one favorite thing to get a text message for is when I'm going to a flight and they change my gate, right? Yes, please don't call me for that. I don't need a person for that. I need a text message that tells me what gate to go to, right? But there's also benefits in human relationships when we build benefit into human relationships, right? I think what's happening is people, the humans, are getting into relationships being kicked off by emails. And I get these all the time too, Mark. I'm sure everybody on this panel does. I'm sure everybody listening does. Like, "Oh, we should talk because I can help you. You don't know anything about me. You can't possibly know that." And so I think there's this really interesting conversation in 2023 about what are we balancing these things? Are we balancing what it's like to be a human with all of this tech? Because if we're ignoring the tech, we're probably going to be in trouble. And if we're ignoring the human engagement perspective, we're going to be in trouble. So we can't just go in one of those directions. We need to figure out, for us as individuals, for a business, as a culture and an ecosystem, what is the balance that's right for us here? And this is what I'm coming to for my point for 2023 is, I think we need more space for experimenting. I think we need to create space to experiment with the things. And so that's something that I am creating more space. I actually scheduled 2 hours into my calendar every week to just experiment with things. What is this? I don't know anything about this. How could I test this? Is this something that actually can create a benefit? I was just looking up the definition of marketing on the side while everyone else was talking, and it's like the activity of promoting and selling. And I think that we've missed this and selling piece of marketing for a very long time, and just like doing things, right? Like, we'll just experiment. We'll send out a whole bunch of emails, and then we'll give ourselves a high five because we sent out X amount of emails that didn't get any response. And
but that's the point, isn't it? Promoting is only promoting if it promotes.
Right.
And
promoting is about converting to a sale. It's not just about getting in front of a million people's eyes.
But that's the point, isn't it? Sending a million emails is not the same as getting in front of a million people. And sending a million emails and getting in front of a million people is not the same as promoting to a million people. And I think that
this is like Mark's experience is like, that's a broken experience, right? I'm going to send all these emails and then give myself a high five for sending all these emails. But your very first touch to a person created a bad experience. So what's their incentive to open your next email, or to come to a live that you do, or an event that you're hosting, or have a demo of your product, right? I got one the other day that was like straight to demo, right? I can demo this for you. why would I spend my time doing that? You have given me no reason to do that. And that's the human piece of it, right? If we're going to use automation, and I think automation is beneficial in specific arenas, how are we doing that in a way that a human can receive it? Because if we're just creating a whole bunch of spam, we know the stats on content creation, right? The amount of content created in any given second is obscene, right? It's not about creating the content anymore. It's about giving people a reason to consume your content. And if we're not giving people a reason to consume the content, which is the human side of it, then we can spend as much time as we want researching AI. Maybe you'll get in front of a bunch of AI eyes.
AI eyes.
I
think you're absolutely right, though. That what you just said there. Imagine that at global corporate scale, experimenting with what doesn't, and changing course, and trying and experimenting and running pilots and doing all of that. Yeah.
The amount of money that we spend in R&D on a tech side, right? Like tech companies have, I don't even know how much budget. Sometimes unlimited budget. Like I worked for a small tech company. I'm hiding now. I worked for a small tech company, and the R&D budget was unlimited, right? Like that. Okay, so we're going to spend unlimited budget, unlimited resources on people writing code, but we're not going to give any kind of leeway in the rest of the company, sales, marketing, customer experience, to explore the same way. That seems short-sighted to me.
I think you touched on a couple of things that I think are just brilliant. This idea of the balance between technology and human has actually resulted in a lack of experimentation. So let me get into a little bit more of what I mean by that. For years, certainly at the enterprise level, and I think at all levels, there has been an overinvestment, I would argue, in technology, and an underinvestment in giving people the skills that they need to do the things that you described. The reality is that in most organizations, small and large, they don't know how to do the experimenting. Yeah. Their people do not have the skills that they need to be agile, to operate in a fast-paced environment. And to some extent, the technology industry is to blame for that. Because when they talk about these issues, digital transformation, digital in general, it's always about technology. Our technology that we've developed it's the silver bullet. It's the thing, to Adam's point about, marketing automation, right? It's the marketing automation is the thing that's going to save you. When it's not the marketing automation, it's how you use that marketing automation. It's what people are doing with technology that is going to save you. And so until enterprises invest more, and I actually think this is the year for it, that invests more in the skills development for their people so that they can do the experimenting, so that they can work together better and faster. Those are the things that are going to help them overcome things like priority overload. What's priority overload? I got, 1,000 things coming at me and nobody can tell me what's important. Or they call it collaboration overload. I call it communication overload because there is no collaboration. Communication overload. I got all this communication coming at me. We need a little bit more, less conversation, a little bit more action, because
Elvis,
all we're doing is talking.
Indeed.
None of those individuals asked me to connect on LinkedIn.
Are we supposed to go bingo to get the fact that you've got Elvis into the
bingo?
It's on my head the whole time. Anyway, a little less conversation, a little more action, right? Because there's a lot of talking about what needs to be done and not a lot of doing what needs to be done. So I think that this year is, I'm hoping, I'm praying, because the people part is what's been neglected for years. And so now we need to see a lot more investment in people. And, I don't know the ins and outs of what Cisco is planning, but I love what they announced at the end of the year, which is that they are investing to turn their entire organization, 84,000 people, into talent influencers.
Yep.
Now that
watch out competition.
Yeah,
that's
a competitive advantage.
They're
That's
heading
a
they're heading for
competitive
Heartbreak Hotel.
that is
They all get blue suede shoes if they post stuff.
Don't be cruel, Tim.
I'm just a teddy bear. There's a famous Navy SEAL quote, which is, "Under pressure, we don't rise to the occasion. We sink to the level of our training. That's why we train so hard."
Hey, I love it.
We sink to the level. Yeah, because you're
to the
under
level of our
pressure, your
training.
hand goes
Under
forward.
pressure, we don't rise to the occasion. You sink to the level of your training. That's why we train so hard, and we see a lot of it out there in the industry.
Yeah.
So
And think
if your
when you-
training base is weak,
If your training is what marketing was 20 years ago, that's what you're basically
looking
going
for.
yeah, you're gonna get the result. You're gonna get what everybody on the planet experienced at the end of last year, which was just a deluge of emails. I mean, I could not believe the number of emails coming in, and all it did was say, we are desperate. We have no idea what to do. I'm getting emails.
Hold on, let me give you 10% off though in this email, because that'll make you buy.
I got emails from companies for
15%.
things that I downloaded 2 and 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Which tells me they're going through every inch of that marketing automation, looking for any name they can find that isn't a customer to try to turn them into one.
Do you get the ones that say, "We may have spoken to you about 3 years ago, but we thought we'd get back in touch"?
Yeah, following up on my message last week.
yeah. Or following up on, whatever, the conversation, pretending as if we had a conversation or I had some just it was incessant at the end of last year. And it was the kind of thing that, now that I think about it, those are some great prospects. The firms that sent those emails, they're great prospects because they just let it was the tip off. They don't have
Are they great prospects though? Because there are two kinds of people in business, aren't there? There are people that say, I will buy this person or solution to deal with that problem, and people that roll up their sleeves and say, I'm going to deal with that problem.
Yeah.
So Tim and I worked for a big tech company some years ago, and one of their products was the most advanced marketing automation software in the world. And Alex worked there as well. The most advanced, and people would spend 7 figures buying a license to use this product and then use it to send out newsletters.
Yep. It was the best in the world when I sold it, when I was selling it.
It was. But the point is that, this is people that don't want to address the problem. I have to sit down, I have to work out what I'm trying to say to these people. What are their challenges? How can I meet their challenges? How can I talk about them? How can I engage them in a conversation? How can I really understand what they're trying to overcome, so I can be there to help them through that and give them genuinely good advice? But they don't want to do that. What they want to do is they want to buy an agency, a tool, a whatever, more adverts that will solve the problem. And it's that laziness that has led people into this very situation. The reason emails don't work as a marketing tool is because 99.9% of the emails you receive are crap. So therefore, you bundle them all in as crap and throw them away. If every email you received was incredibly valuable to you, your first point of resource would be your inbox, but it isn't. If every advert was something which genuinely was a good product, and then you would read adverts and go, I'll buy one of those because that seems like it's really good. But actually you don't, because you've been, once bitten, twice shy. Too many times you've been led up the garden path, and you've been sold a dream which hopefully before purchase is clear that it's not a dream, it's a nightmare.
I do see. I think that speaks to my initial point of trying to fix one of the tiny fragments of the overall bigger problem. Trying to deal with that one little thing with a bit of tech or a bit of a solution, a bit of a band-aid, when in actual fact it's not about that one little piece. It's about the fact that everything about your digital future as a business has changed. So how do you, to Tracy's point, Lenwood's point, Tim's point, how do we, I've only heard it once. And it made my day. I wrote a blog about it. One company who sat down as a board and said, right, everything's changed. It's a completely safe space. Chatham House rules in here. No one's going to get fired on this board for the state that we're in, but we need to completely rewire ourselves. We need to think about everything. So for the next month, we're going to put a team together who are going to go out there and bring the best advice back into us. We'll put a couple of us on here, but it's not just going to be us, not just the board. Let's get young people in, people that are cognitively diverse, and go out and tell us and give us evidence to suggest what we need to do, to look at every single piece of the overall picture about our digital future, not just the fact that we need a new CRM or we need a new email marketing tool, just dealing with little fires as they come up, like playing Frogger. Is that what it was called? No, not Frogger. What's it called?
Whack-a-mole, yeah.
Whack-a-mole, yeah. Just trying to hit one and then hit another. Let's get the overall picture and let's set ourselves right for now and for the future, and actually leave space for all these things like that may come in, like AI or the metaverse, but actually make sure that our little company's digitally set for the future. I don't hear enough of that kind of chat at board level. I don't hear enough.
Yeah. I bring it back around to where we started. What are the resolutions for the new year? I said the last time we met, I'm not going to have resolutions going forward, but I do have a word of the year. My word is intentionality. So I sat down over that Christmas, New Year's break, and I did the stop, go, start exercise. Figure out everything that I'm doing. Stop doing those things that aren't working. Continue doing, invest more into those things that are working. And start doing more experimenting, if you will, to come back to what Lenwood and Tracy were saying regarding things that have the potential to work. And that's me at the individual level. I've been in organizations where we've done that at an organizational level, but there's not enough of that going on right now. It's more of the same. What did we do last week? Yeah, we should probably do that this week. Why? Because that's what we've always done. And that's the Achilles heel.
Yeah. Rob, you are a master of putting your finger on like the thing that Tracy also knows a lot about. The thing. You got to do that thing that you can put your finger on.
You want it.
But you're absolutely right. And the reason why I decided to speak up right then about my thing that I'm doing this year is because I found myself engaged in that behavior that organizations all over the world are engaged in, which is taking the top of the organization, and it's the top of the organization that has to figure it out. That type of strategic planning, it moves so slow that you're out of it by the time you get anything going. And I found myself kind of operating in that same kind of mindset of, I've got to figure it out. And in reality, what you have to do is you have to get people across your organization. Not everybody is going to engage in it, but if you get people across your organization engaged in the process of experimenting and thinking about the future that they're trying to build, you're not only are you going to increase employee engagement and commitment to the organization, what you're going to have is you're going to have people who are co-creating the future with you. And the framework for doing that, or the beginnings of doing that, is giving them the skills that they need to engage in that process. So we've got to move from this idea of the top comes up with the ideas and then they tell the rest of the organization, go do that.
Well, and this,
People are done with
everything I'm
that.
hearing
They're
here
done with
is
that.
like, and this is the people part of it, right? Because we've also created a lot of upper level management teams that can't let go of the control, right? Because my whole job being at the top level is to control the people, right? This is a lot of corporate structures are built that way. So what we're talking about is like a digital transformation of people. And it comes down to, I really like what you're saying, Lenwood, about this space for training the people, right? Because we also have to start training our people and like, what does it look like to let go of your ego when you're a CEO, right? Because I've worked for small companies where things don't happen because the CEO has too much ego to say, this is the way we've been doing it and it doesn't work, right? Like, it doesn't work anymore, right? It's just a fact. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. There's lots of contributing factors, but if we stay stuck, it's your fault, right? If we stay doing the same thing and I'm in charge of marketing, it's my fault, right? And or I blame myself or I leave, which is what a lot of people are doing right now too, right? Like, I don't have space to explore. I'm just sitting here doing the same thing day in, day out. It's not working. And we talk a big game, like we care that it's not working, but we're not being brave enough to try something new. And that's training, right? That's training that humans need to be able to let go of things that they tried that didn't work. We've been taught, most of us have been taught that our entire lives, right? We go to school, we get a wrong answer, that's bad. And so we go into the workforce and we do the same thing. It's not really shocking. We need to provide training on those human skills.
But is it realistic? Is it realistic for us to assume that this is going to happen now? Because I'm not sure it is.
Well, just like anything else, it's not like it happens today and we reap the rewards tomorrow.
It's you put in place the strategy and the plan today to execute in the future. So think about what Tim said, that SEAL quote. You know, people default back to their training. For 20 years, we've done it a particular way. You know, we grew this company from 40 people to 40,000 people by doing these things. Yeah, and now it's gone from 40,000 people to 30,000 people and then to 20,000 people. And organizations are desperate. That's what I see. I see fear in the eyes of the people that I'm talking to, and they don't know what to do. My New Year's resolution is to be more, if you can imagine such a thing, more militant about
militant is the answer.
Yeah, to say to people, you know, what you're doing isn't working. It isn't working. No, but joking aside, you know, this is absolutely, you know, we need to digitally grab people by the lapels and shake them.
So glad you said lapels there.
Yeah. But because people are caught in this king's new clothes situation, aren't they? Mm-hmm. They're in a situation where they think things are going to magically get better from doing something that they've done before, and they're not. People need to be brave. They need to throw away the old stuff and try something new. Maybe it won't work. You know, maybe if people entirely socialize their organization, maybe it won't work. Yeah, but is that any worse than doing the stuff they're already doing that isn't working?
Yes.
There's a chance of something happening.
Yes, it is worse in the business environment.
Yeah.
If I say I'm going to go along to get along and things continue as poorly as they are, it's not my fault. But if I say, let's try something radically different and it doesn't work, it is my fault.
It is your fault.
But if you do something, if you don't do anything, or you do the old stuff and it doesn't work, it doesn't matter whether it's your fault or not. You're going to be out of a job soon, as are everyone that works with you.
but
Yeah.
But the
that's,
problem is that's not true, right? But what the pattern that we see is that we defend what we currently do that doesn't work, and that allows us to keep our job, right?
Nobody ever got fired for buying IBM. And that attitude has stuck with us for decades.
But
it's the
the
risk
history
aversion.
books are littered with organizations that, like Kodak. Well, we don't need to change because we're so big, we're so secure, and Blockbuster, and an endless list of companies that have said,
Sure,
actually, I'll just keep doing the old stuff because it's fine. It got me this far.
Yeah, the
And so all of
problem
a sudden,
is
pop.
the problem is that Brent Adamson was talking about this actually just yesterday. Or maybe I got it yesterday. Maybe it wasn't yesterday. But what he was saying, it's not Adam, it's Abramson. What's his name? Brent. He was on our
Adamson.
Adamson. I was right. Okay, I thought that's what. Okay, so anyway, what he was saying is that the thing that people who are making the decisions in organizations move on is not the benefit to the organization, it's the benefit to them, how it impacts them personally. So Rob is right in the sense that when someone is sitting there and they're trying to figure out how to make a decision, they're thinking about themselves. And if it's a decision that could cost them their job, whether it's going to benefit the organization or not, they're not doing it. So the answer to that is actually how you experiment and how you pivot. Okay, so the traditional way you think about strategic planning is, we're going to create the plan, we're going to execute the plan, and we'll look in a quarter. We'll look at, no, that's too long. Okay, we've got to look in 30 days. Or have we moved the needle? Do we need to make a change? And then you make the change, and then you do that 30 forward, 30 back, and you iterate like that. You experiment in that way. Much less risky proposition. So that's all I'll say about that.
We missed a few comments down just underneath Martin Hunt and between Lonica Smith. There's a comment from Mark Cowison. Could you put that one up, please, Adam? How do you remain relevant?
I'll go back.
One scroll down.
Scroll it.
Quite a big. It's between Martin Hunt and Lonica Smith.
There's some really great comments today.
Yeah. How do you remain relevant with large organizations who favor producing approved vendor? Do you not see that one?
I'm looking. There's loads and loads of comments here that I'm going through. Sorry.
It's just down a few off the screen.
Up a few from the bottom, do you mean?
No. If you just come down from the top, I think the last one you'll see on your screen is from Carla, and then a few down from that, there's one from Mark Cowison. So it's quite recent. How do you remain relevant with large organizations? I'll read it out. How do you remain relevant with large organizations who favor reducing their approved vendor lists, which is common, and engaging the 2% profit buying houses for all their purchasing? And when it comes down to pricing, the people part is not relevant in this space, to be honest. There you go. So I've got a case study that I'd love to share with you, Mark, about an organization who were in exactly the same position. And we changed that. We changed that through digital dominance and by allowing them to become or set out on a journey to become the leading technical and commercial digital influencers in their space, which changed that conversation with their existing clients and actually allowed them to open up with a bunch of new clients who saw them as industry leaders. So we weren't ignoring that comment. That's a very relevant comment where you're locked into commercial dealings with organizations who say, right, we're going to slink our supply chain, we're going to trim all our suppliers down, you're out. We're going to trim all the margins. We're going to trim all the pricing. That's the reality that companies face today. But it's not ways around it, but there are ways to counter that. And I'd love to share a case study with you about an organization where we helped them with that very thing.
Yeah, and that question, Eric's response, goes to the heart of the issue we were talking about as it relates to marketing automation and where we are today. The buying behaviors have changed and the market has changed, and the way that you are able to break through that, which I'm sure is what Eric's case study is going to show, is to demonstrate your value through a relationship that you're building with that organization on social. That's kind of the big thing, right? Email, you just cannot do that with email marketing. There's too little value in that email. You need to build.
I love it.
How do you remain relevant? Oh, interesting. What did ChatGPT say? Call DLA Ignite.
Yeah.
If it did, it's brilliant.
I heard that. Did you hear
Can I
Will
just talk
I.Am's?
about this?
Did you hear Will I.Am's theory about ChatGPT and Elon Musk's relationship with OpenAI? The people that his theory is that ChatGPT is growing at such an exponential rate. Every millisecond, it's getting more and more. I don't know if intelligent is the right word, but it's getting smarter and smarter. I asked it the other day to write me a piece of code for such and such, and in 17 minutes it was flawless, absolutely flawless. So rather than just asking it internet style questions, what is, who is, blah blah blah, getting it to do stuff for you, I'm finding it absolutely incredible. But the his Will I Am's theory is that the reason that he bought Twitter is he needs trillions of bytes of data to funnel into the digital mind that is ChatGPT or OpenAI or whatever it might be. And that what better place to get billions and billions and trillions of bytes of stuff and text every second of every minute of every day is from Twitter, to just funnel it right in to grow this big digital brain. Interesting.
Wow.
It is interesting.
I feel like I need to say this on the pricing piece, right? Because one of the things that we continue to see in the digital era is decreasing prices on things so people can compete on price, right? So then what we're doing is we're taking human intelligence, skilled services, and making them commodities. So now they have become, we compete on price, right? And then when we compete on price, we're making less money. So now the people that we pay for these companies that are competing on price are making less money. And then we contribute to quiet quitting and things like that, because, well, like, now I just get paid the minimum viable to do the minimum viable. And like, I don't know. I just still feel like there's people who don't believe in that, right? In decreasing skilled services to the point where we're just competing on price. And there will always be people who do believe in doing that, right? My husband works in the supply chain. Supply chain is all about pricing, right? We want to get goods to people at the lowest possible cost. So we need to lower the cost as much as possible. Like, they actually get bonus on cost savings, right? That's part of their industry. That's probably not going to change, but it also was a supremely challenging. So like in Canada earlier in 2022, we experienced like ridiculous supply chain issues, and we're paying like $5 for a loaf of bread now because of what it costs to get things through the supply chain when we make bread locally, which is crazy. But it's because the people whose job it is to get the discounts have no relationship with the people who are providing the services. And then when you get into trouble, the people who provide the services say, well, this is what it costs now, so make it happen. And it just is moving farther and farther away from how humans would actually do business. So is there a benefit? Sure. Greg is asking ChatGPT instead of humans. That's fine. And there will always be people who do that because they trust the technology more than the people. But the less people show up to create trust with people, the more that's going to happen. So do we just give up and say, oh, everybody's just going to trust the internet for things? We don't need people for anything anymore. Like, we're all people too, right? So if we don't need us, then is that the direction we want to go? And do we actually think that that's the direction that works? Because quite honestly, I don't think it's just all about technology. I think technology is created by people. And if we don't talk about people, then we're missing a huge component, and it's going to become a problem.
That's the important bit there.
Does the world need 9,000 marketing automation tools?
No, just mine.
But I think the key thing here is that cost and value are not the same thing.
Correct.
You know, what we see is that premium priced goods and services command a premium price and are often in short supply because people are prepared to pay for a premium product or service. The problem is that we are at this kind of crossroads. We have AI competing with humans, and AI offers some benefits, but it's not all benefits.
Correct.
Actually, we need to work out how we are going to navigate that. I don't mean we on the call. I mean, we as a species need to work out how we can
Professionals.
how we can, yeah. And what we've seen is every time there's been a revolution, the industrial revolution, farming laborers being replaced by machines, trains replacing wagons, all of this kind of thing, people have been able to move from that environment where they've been working people using their hands. They've been able to migrate to become working people using their minds. They've been able to move from working the fields to working calculators or working ledger books or working writing machines or whatever it is. And now we're looking at a different kind of abyss. Now we're looking into something where there is no safe haven for the mind being better than a machine, because it won't be shortly. So how are we going to make sure that we are adding value? Back to that point from Andrew, cost and value are not the same thing. So when we sell on cost, we will always be beaten by machines. When we sell on value, we won't necessarily.
I just want to get to something that you said there, which I don't agree with, which is that AI is going to replace the human mind. There are certain things that AI can do extremely well, but this world is filled with complex problems that require complex solutions, and they require more than one person to solve. And so when we move from this idea that there is a product or a single product or service that can solve our problems, then we'll start to make a dent in actually solving problems, because there isn't. We actually need to move towards a better system or a better operating system of working together. Mm-hmm. So when we command when we're looking to receive a high dollar amount or pound amount for a service, we're actually paying for an outcome. And increasingly, it's not that I'm going to hire this company and they're going to deliver the outcome. It's I'm going to hire this company and we're going to work together to deliver the outcome. And that is, I think, the big change that we're involved in right now, the big transition to actually solving the real problems. To my point about 9,000 marketing automation, maybe some of those innovators should be doing something else other than coming up with another marketing automation tool.
Yep.
That's not where the money's at.
Sorry,
Rob?
I say that's not where the money's at.
No.
There are 8,999 people making money off of that. I want to be one more. Hence the 9,000 solution.
Leah Schmidt is currently uploading her. When it comes to tech investment, I've noticed she's put up number 1. Sunk costs. Don't want to switch because we've invested a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Come on, Leah.
Come on.
We have to type fast enough.
We've only got 5 minutes.
Hey, did you say AI can type faster? New systems are treated as bleeding edge and risky, even if they save costs. Oh yeah, my goodness. We know we need it. But yeah, it seems a bit high risk right now. We'll just stick to what we know. This is the moment where we all went silent, waiting for number 3, and she's like, "I only had 2." He's a friend of the show.
My New Year's resolution is actually to it's not really a New Year's resolution because I don't make those, but it's really to help help HR leaders in particular, but organizations through their HR teams to work better together, and that's my focus all year.
Cool. Mine is to learn to play the piano and clear my calendar. Don't be so busy. And if I can follow through on that New Year's resolution, then I'm going to try and bring the piano playing into the work, into my personal branding.
Are you going to come and play us a piece?
Well, if it was today, it would be chopsticks. But
Three
yeah,
Blind
maybe
Mice.
in a few months.
Three Blind Mice is my request.
Yeah. Okay.
Alex, do you know the piano's on my foot?
If
You
hum
hum it, son.
I'll play
I'll
it.
play it.
I'll play it.
Yeah. You can just see it, can't you? Alex in his DJ, sitting at the piano, playing requests.
There's a classic from Andrew, who I think is Andrew, who is a creative brand strategist. My resolution is 300 DPI.
Ah, yes.
Andrew Cameron, yeah, very good.
And Ellen, thank you for thanking Linwood.
Yes, thank you, Ellen. Thank you so much.
So, are there any other last-minute resolutions from people or learnings from the last year that they're going to take forward into this year, or some insight that they can share about how they are going to behave differently over the coming 12 months?
Keep building digital communities and doing things with them and collaborating. This is the year of collaboration, I think.
I think you could be right. I think that we're at a point now, aren't we, where organizations have got their backs to the wall and they realize that often they don't have the answers themselves. So they need to find a community of people that can help them.
Yeah, the world economy is creating a pressure that is going to intensify over the next 12 to 18 months for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of the
your old piano.
Yeah, before the piano, but in terms of salespeople and how difficult it's becoming for them. There's a nice article from Trust Radius that talks about the fact that the salesperson as an asset that a buyer references when making a purchase decision has dropped out of the top 5.
Say that again, Alex.
Say that again, Alex. Go on.
So the salesperson,
yeah,
as an asset that a buyer would use for information to inform their decision about what they need, has dropped out of the top 5. So
can you share that in the chat, please?
What, the article or the?
Yeah.
Tim's going to write 6
blogs
right
now.
before 3 o'clock.
There'll be a blog before 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to chat GPT.
Chat GPT just did.
So what are the top 5 resources that people go to now when they're thinking of buying?
Number 1, they'd rather have an online product demo. Number 2, they'd rather have a free trial or a free account. User reviews. Number 3. Number 4, vendor product website. So they, going to the vendor's website for information isn't even in the top 3. So when you think about marketing automation and the dollars that go into that, buyers would rather not be part of that, nurturing program. Mm. Number 5, which took the place of the salesperson, is communities and forums.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. They don't want the marketing on. They don't want the nurturing. That's the canned emails. Everybody, like, that gig is up. People know that you've just put their name in a formed email. I mean,
just bouncing this to the top of your email box, then.
it's totally ridiculous. And communicate the communities and forums, right? Why has that risen to the top level? It's because people want to have conversations with other people who are either have the same problem and they're trying to solve it, or real experts in how to solve the problem.
And that's
People
the
who are
problem
actually
with-
going to help them solve.
That's the problem with salespeople, the concept of the salesperson, right? It came down to this person who's trying to sell you something that you don't want, right? But if the salesperson or people, if the people, let's just take the word sales out of it. If the people in your organization were the creators of the community, that's the space where people can actually get answers, that's the sales process, right?
And
it's not about
it was Brent Adamson who said on this show that what's happening in sales is basically a race to the bottom.
we have given people a reason not to trust our salespeople as informative resources.
Exactly.
And of course, they've fallen off the list.
So we don't trust salespeople. So what you do is what they're doing is you commoditize a salesperson, pushing them through processes. So we don't trust them even more.
Yeah.
It's a race to the bottom. And you heard it first on a digital download.
Maybe this is a good intention for 2023, is to get out of the race to the bottom.
Yeah.
So the digital download, Rob, which is
what now?
Rob,
sorry, I was reading comments.
Longest running.
Oh, yes.
Longest running.
The
business.
longest running weekly business broadcast on LinkedIn Live.
fantastic. And on that note, we are past time. Thank you all very much for coming along. Thank you, the audience. What a fantastic, huge number of comments. Absolutely.
Sorry if we never got to some of them.
have a great year, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
See you next
we'll
week.
see you all next week. Thank you very much indeed.
Next week.